legends and super legends, welcome to Veloharmony. It's very warm today. It's 21 C thereabouts, 21 Celsius. It's about 70, 71 degrees right now. And it's going to stay between 21 and 24 C most of the day. Rain is expected in the afternoon. It says 11 o'clock, from 11 to like 3 it's supposed to rain. So I'm dressed, covered in my shoes to protect my shoes from the rain, and I've got the mud guards on the bike, even if it doesn't rain. I was gonna wear the team kit. I sent a message to Paul and I changed my mind. And he said, oh, he's gonna wear the team kit. So I decided to just go ahead and wear the team kit. But my biggest concern was being able to cover the gimbal in the rain and all the crap that I needed to carry to have places to put them. Because the team kit bib shorts doesn't have those radial pockets for some of the extra stuff I carry. So this is my gilet, and it works okay with the team kit. I'm not wearing it right now. It's a lightweight rain vest. If it rains, I will wear it to cover the gimbal, because the gimbal, if it's stored in my rear pocket, I want to make sure it doesn't get a lot of rain on it. Because they said that only 10 minutes of rain is what they tested it for. So I'm going to fold this up and put it in the same pocket that I'm going to put the gimbal in. Or I'll put the gimbal in the upper part of my neck when I'm carrying it. But I'm folding this gilet. It's mainly for the gimbal, because ordinarily on a warm day like this I wouldn't need the cover. Its jersey dries pretty quickly. I'm using the long Veloharmony gloves. Alan just sent me a text a little while ago before I started. It says that he would see us there. I told him we're wearing the team kit. I hope he got the message timely, because he drives over there. He may have already been in the car. But hope you'll get a chance to get some K's in. We're headed out. We'll get some good clips for you. On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. We headed out to the woodlands. We picked up Team RR. That's Julio there. Julio's been gone for a while, and Dogshot and Greg joined. We headed down Fish Creek. There were a lot of action. You can see the group breaking up there. We kept the group pace steady all the way into Montgomery, because people were attacking. I think you will like the clips. And Julio went back. Greg went to the western part of the forest. He turned around with us there on Bethel Road. We met Mo. You will see Mo in the clips. We got to Dacres. Greg was ahead again. We basically split, because Mo and his group was there as well. But by this point, Paul's knee was bothering him. He did some heavy workouts during the week. So we basically headed back into Magnolia there. And we ended up doing about probably 163 kilometers. So it's a very good day. Lots of wind, very breezy. Once we got into town, we did the Creekside Loop, and we headed back to the house to wrap things up. I hope you all got a chance to get out there, but I think today's ride will be very exciting. I couldn't keep my eyes off the clips. About 100 every Saturday, so Jerry shows up, he wants to do more. It's okay. So we saw Victor on the way home from that ride. Victor was riding on Creekside. Yeah. They were asking us about our ride last week with Jerry L. Jerry does not let up. We went through Tri-Lakes. He was riding it like it was flat.
I gotta make it right.
That's Victor I was talking. This is Dan the Man. He's back from his injury, but he just came to visit. He didn't ride with us too long. Still got the battle scars. I think I mentioned it a little bit on the camera while recording.
So,
Dan the Man is back.
First normal from his injury. So,
Hey, Alan.
I did the shoulder surgery 2 weeks.
Davis, how you doing? Here you go, man.
No, when they told me the jersey had already put my clothes on, I'm like, okay, let me change.
Yeah, when I saw your message, I was doing the prologue, and then by the time I finished the prologue, then I saw your message. That's why I texted me early this morning that he was going to join us.
Yeah.
I have to send you the link. We have these kids are getting it from Roth. It is.
Yeah.
I designed it this week. Paul finalized that. Paul and then I got it. I'm telling you. We finalized the design. I was saying the link. It's on our website, Veloharmony.com. Yeah, just go to Veloharmony.com web store. You will see the team. You can order it. No, we're doing pre-orders because it takes 8 weeks. So we're having people pre-order what they want. For Rafa, for you, the chest is there. I think for him, because you went up. What size is that?
I think it's a double or triple X.
Okay, so for you, you would probably do XL. But look at the sizing chart.
It's below.
Your chest size. Go by your chest size for jersey. And I also did bibs. You'll see it. Arm warmer. It's sweet. We have 3 different jerseys. The classic got a long sleeve. Paul's getting all of them.
Yeah.
All 3. Yeah, but we got to make sure your size is spot on.
We gotta support the local.
Yeah, send me your when you get before you buy it. Send me the measurement of your chest.
So the measure is gonna go across.
Yeah, circle around you, and the sizing chart is there.
I think the bib should. I mean, like a short should be like an XL. This is XXL.
Yeah, we were at
XL. The waist, they do about the waist. The waist is 35, 34 and a half, I go to 36, and it works. For you, you probably no more than 36. So you would do XL. Yeah, Alan is a supporter. You would love it. Just go see. I want you to just see the design.
Mike?
I released a video about it yesterday. Reddish orange. We call it red orange.
Hey, Mike.
How
you doing, man?
This corner. Yeah, almost like that. And a piece of that. The reddish orange. You'll like it. It's like a chevron. And then right here, the name on this thing. Yeah, Rafa gave you more places to do stuff. Yeah, it's just you'll like it. You'll like it. It's hard to describe. You got to see it. You got to see it. Yeah. So they're still visiting with Dan. Everybody's happy to see him back. They have not discussed the route. So I get on my bike and start moving around. I kind of let them know it's time to go. Because it's 7:36. We need to go. So I just spin around the parking lot. Then in a little bit they start talking about the route. That snapped them out of it.
Straight up 149 to Bethel, left on Bethel, and then if everybody feels okay, we're going to go right on the Gorilla Loop over to Voorhees and down 1486 to Jackson, and then it's about 70, 72, 73 miles. Cool. More for you.
Okay. So they finally discussed the route.
It's you,
recognize you without your phone. I saw you guys yesterday, man. It's like I know those two. It's like the Beach Boys coming down.
Victor calls our bike beach cruisers because we got mud guards.
Sorry, I was like, look at Victor, man. Man, it's gonna rain, man. Did you see the weather?
The only reason it doesn't rain is because you guys got the vendors. Like the opposite.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I'd much rather have it on the bike. If it doesn't rain, it's not a problem. You know, it's just I just don't like the road spray. There's too much stuff on the road, the oils and tar and other stuff that gets on you. The rain itself is not a problem. It's the dirt off the road that I love the mud guards for.
Mr. H!
There's Paul H on the right there. There's a car coming, so I point and let them know.
Car!
But he slowed down. This is a quiet road.
Yeah, I just rode locally. I didn't post those.
Paul is just asking Paulie Longa if he rode. I guess he follows him on Strava.
Closer to you.
Congratulations on your 125 miles.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
He's congratulating him for the 125-mile ride we did last Saturday.
We had to.
He was always that way. Well, let's go this. Let's do this. Let's go this.
That's Julio back in the red helmet. I think in a little while. That's Paulie Longa's rain cape.
Yeah.
I put the arrow on Julio. Julio's been gone from riding for about more than 6 months. He's probably been riding, but not with us. He had the shingles, and then he said other things was going on.
with him. He's been posting on the board. So it was good to see him back. But he's not ready to handle our riding pace. Just kind of came out to ride with us for a short while. Mike and I are talking about the ride with Jerry.
That was like 4 weeks ago. We were talking about it last week. He wanted us to do the same after he got home.
Jerry wanted us to do 151 miles, so he would be encouraged to do more than that. You know, we just ran out of time. I told him we'll try it another time when we have more time.
Osborne, 1375, just to get extra kilometers.
Why did you guys end up doing that?
He's been sick. He said he's just coming back.
Last Saturday. 76.
We can start earlier on a day like that and then still get home at a decent hour. We don't want to stay out too much longer.
That's now classified as a medium ride. It used to be long.
But if you ride on a Sunday, you pour in some more miles there. It's like a man. I wish I could ride Sunday.
So they're talking about it rides. I think Paul H and Paulie Longer are linked on Strava.
Yeah. No, tomorrow.
Victor.
You riding this Sunday? Yeah.
He's asking Victor if Victor's gonna do the ride today. I'm doing this narration Sunday. Victor wasn't there. I rode with them part of the way. It was a good ride. The pace was a little less than Saturday. We're just kind of rolling out, warming up. Nice quiet morning. In this situation, I like to use the road. When I come here on this road solo, I'll use the shoulder. But there's so many of us right now, and it's not busy. I just use the road. The shoulder's nice and wide too. You can see that. So some of us are on the shoulders. I just like to use the road. It's cleaner. Minimizes my chances of flats. Whenever I'm riding, I'm always aware of where the other riders are. I knew Victor was there. I didn't even have to turn my head, but I knew he was there. That's why he saw me drift.
Yeah, huge.
Paul's telling me that there's a group at that intersection on the other street that dead-ended into this one. He thought it was a Mo's group. I think it's people are training for the MS 150. And this Saturday, there was cyclists galore all over the road. You will see there's a group that we pass on the highway. I mean, they're moving, but we were just going so much faster. But a lot of people were out riding bikes today. It was great to see. Just cyclists everywhere, so they're getting ready. So I told Paul, I said, well, if they're training for the MS, I don't know what the date is for the MS 150, but I hope they're not just starting now to train, because they should have been training all winter, so you can really perform. One thing about this group, as soon as you pick up the pace a little bit, everybody follows. I just rolled with what the terrain gave me. It was a slight downhill. Now it's going up. And this guy's coming to pass me. So you're going to see a lot of this. That's why this ride ended up being very interesting. Not that any of them are boring as much as I love cycling, but I just found this ride to be riveting, because when I'm riding, there are things I don't see that shows up on film after the fact. That's just nice to see. It's Alan back there. That's Davis with the chartreuse helmet. She hadn't been with the group for a while, but she'd been riding. I think she might be doing the MS 150. I did the MS 150 in the past. I just got tired of there's a lot of inexperienced riders, and they just seem to be reckless. And it's just a lot of cyclists, it's crowded. It just didn't feel safe to me. So I got a bit turned off. Plus you gotta sleep in LaGrange, between here and Austin somewhere, and it's hard to find accommodations. It's got to be a hassle. And I don't really care for the fundraising, bothering people for money all the time. I just used to pay outright, and for what we paid for the things that they had at the stops, I was not impressed. So they need to give back to the riders. It's a good cause, but you can't just, give us dry bread and we're paying you minimum $400 to do a ride. Give us something. And it's just hard to find accommodation. People stay far away from where the ride would start. So the second day is a hassle. You got to be on a bus or driven. It's just logistics.
Yep.
Just doesn't make sense.
Be heavy, nice.
That one, it's not for me. I've done quite a few of them, probably about 5 or 6 over the years. MS-150 will start late April 27, 28. So if you're doing something in April, you need at least 3 months preparation minimum to really perform, in my opinion. We're gonna do the RDBC Gran Fondo on April 7th. Go ahead and find it so we can register.
Yep. That was my thought exactly, man.
The RDBC Gran Fondo is a ride that is sponsored and run by Mark and them, Team RR, host that ride. This year is April 7th. Last year was April 15th. That's the ride Paul was sick on. We will be doing the 100-miler, of course. So we need to register by March 16th to avoid paying a higher rate. So if you register they got January 15th to February 24th was $35. I didn't even know the date at that point anyway. But anyway, February 25th to March 16th for the RDBC, $40. So if you register after that, you pay $50, and then on the day of the event, you pay $60. So a lot of people wait for the day of the event because they're not sure to make the commitment. They're holding the rides on the roads that we did last year, Anderson, and the rides this direction on the north in Montgomery County. So we know we're going to be doing it rain or shine. And that's the reason you want to ride rain or shine. You sign up for an event and it rains, what are you going to do? So that's Davis on the left, that's John on the right. They're both preparing for the MS. John has been off his training schedule. I find it easier to maintain my fitness than to fall off. There's a deer just hanging on the side of the road. I always watch to see if they're gonna jump in front of me. That's why you see me way on the other side.
Watch the deer!
Davis is a diminutive rider. She should do well on climbs. But in the past when she'd ride with us, as soon as we put the power down, she'd tail off the back. But she's doing better. She rode with us today, Sunday as well. And we kept the pace sensible, so she was able to ride most of the ride with us. At this point, my bike is making all kinds of noises when I stand, and I don't know if it's the wheels or whatever. Sometimes when the skewer's loose, I used it on the trainer during the week. And on Friday before this ride, I spun a little bit the evening before the ride. So I go ahead and use this opportunity to retighten my skewer. So right there, you'll see me pull into that driveway and just get off the bike real quickly, undo the skewer, tighten it. People ask me if I'm okay, I say yeah, I'm fine. Paul circle around, I tell them to go. We're ready to go. It doesn't take any time. I just tighten it a quarter turn and made sure it was tighter, just in case that was the problem. Sometimes the wheels would make noises. There are a lot of different things. It's hard to diagnose some of the noises.
Clear.
So they're down the road by the time we get on the highway, and I go ahead and give it the stick. And I think I went so hard, we got up on them so quickly, you'll see that right here. I just went really hard. I didn't realize that they weren't going that hard, I guess. But maybe I did about 8 or 9 pedal strokes and we're on. And I was like, I told Paul, I said, wow, I guess I was going pretty fast. And we're on them. I mean, maybe 10 strokes. I mean, we're on them. But this group now has been gapped. There's a split. Victor and Mike Weingrab are up front. Once we get behind them, I realized that there is a gap between these guys. Dan sitting on the back here. I look for traffic, let Paul know, and we go ahead and move on up. And I go ahead and just put the power down. We've got a tailwind behind us right now, a tail crosswind from the east and southeasterly, so it's blowing from behind and from our right, kind of swirling around as well. But I had to go really hard to close that gap quickly before they start going even faster. You got to make your moves quickly. So we come up on Julio's on the back, but he's leaving like a bike length or so. And I was gonna go around him, but then it looked like he closed the gap a little bit, so I backed off. Because if he's doing fine, I don't want to go around him. But he's still hanging too far back. He's not really drafting, and that's something, you know, the riders that are not in good condition don't draft very well. He needs to try. Again, I was gonna go around. He sped up. Looked like he was trying to get on. I think it's Paul H's wheel there. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and back off, soft pedal a bit to see what he's doing. But he's not close enough to benefit from any kind of draft. And so when you're riding, keep that in mind. You don't need to be in top condition to draft closer. In fact, riders that want a harder workout don't draft closely. But he needs to be drafting because he is not able to hold the pace when the group really starts going hard. So he should be saving his energy. So when you're riding, try to stay within a foot of that wheel. Not much further than that to get the benefit. As you get more comfortable with the people you're following, you can get closer. When I'm following riders like Paul Ilonga that I'm comfortable with, Mo and other experienced riders, I get very close to their wheel. And we only overlap when we're doing an echelon for the most part. Sometimes you can't avoid overlapping when people slow down. So I'm just pointing out those reflectors. In a little bit, I go to the right of them and just use the shoulder. The lane narrows. There's a lot of gravel and stuff on the right. So the ride, because of the tailwind, the ride started in earnest quickly. As soon as we got on Fish Creek, you saw that gap between the two groups. gap between Julio and Paul H. He's expending a lot of energy not being close to Paul H. I'm just sitting and observing. And by watching him, I'm aware that the pace is a challenge for him. And the thing that riders do, if the pace is hard, they tend to hang back when they should really stay closer to the wheel they're following to save their energy. So I know there's a light coming. I go ahead and move around him. He's telling me to slow down. I just move around him. We're using the lane. That light is not long. So I'm moving up to be ready because Victor's up there putting down the power. Mike Weingraub's behind him. You can see Victor got Mike gap. Alan's behind Mike. Then Paul H starts to go. And right here we put down the power. This is a slight grade and we're trying to close the gap. And I'm just using very high cadence here. We're going hard here. You see the gap between Paul H and Alan and them? Just from that light. You got to be vigilant. So I'm watching Paul H the whole time. I don't go around him because he looks like he's doing fine. I mean, he's applying the power and he's closing the gap. So that's why I stayed behind him. Had he been struggling, I would have gone around him to try to close up and pull him closer. But he was fine. So the ride has begun in earnest because of the tailwind. Everybody's excited. Victor's riding hard, and in maybe about 10 kilometers after things get really hot, even Mike Weingraub will ask in a sarcastic manner whether this is the end of the ride. I think he said, we only got 17 miles. Is this the end of the ride because we're riding so hard? You can see the gap to the camera here. Paulie Lunga closes it. So even though we got the wind behind us, it's not a perfect tailwind, but it's got a good push. But we're still working here. We're moving, because even after we met Mo at the store, he was explaining to me that they had like a mechanical for one of their riders in their group, and so it delayed them. And so when they decided to hit the highway, they started to chase us because they knew we're up there. And he said that we're gone. They didn't catch us. You would see them catch us on 2854. They didn't catch us till we got to 2854 because we're holding a good pace. Doing here is making sure I stay close to Paul. That's why I went around Julio. I didn't think he was gonna be able to hold this guy's wheel because the gap he was leaving. You don't want to follow riders that are leaving gaps like that. Go around them because you have to work so much harder if they fall off the pace. Victor pulls off, so Mike takes over. There's like a lull and he pulls off. I'm not really sure why riders do that. What he was doing, he pulled off and then he waved somebody through. Just pull off. The other rider will come through. When I pull off, the only hand signals I make is if I want to change the rotation, like do a rotating pace line or tell the person come through quickly or something like that. I don't wave people through. Just pull off. Anybody, the person that wants to come to take over will come on through. Because when you pull off, you're supposed to back off the pace. You see Mark moved up in front of Paulie Lunga here. Mark had been back in the second group. And I think we probably got together at that light. When it gets hard, I like to be near the front. I want to be close to the action. So I'm not chasing. I'm sitting on the left side because the wind is coming from the right. So it's like an echelon. You can see where I'm a little staggered to that side. We just passed a rider that's out here riding. He's probably getting ready for the MS. That's a group that I don't know them. I think they're getting ready for the MS 150 at the end of April. And we're catching up to them because we're just moving. Our group has long since split up. So in a little bit, you would see Victor. He had just been pulling earlier. He's gonna come, attack the group. Right there, he's moving, and then he's gonna tap Mike, who's at the front pulling, to go with him. Well, Mike doesn't have the horsepower after doing all that pulling. So what ends up happening is they take off, and of course this breaks up our group. This is what I'm talking about. Look at us. Well, all of the cohesion is gone, and the group is always faster than one person. You know, relatively, if the group is working together. So I ride up to Allen's wheel. We're just about catching these other guys. I think in a little bit Mark will come around, because at this point I've decided I'm not going to expend any energy yet until we get to the overpass and all those climbs over there. I can see Victor is really not firing. He and Mike are not even together. So they start out together, and then Mike is off Victor's wheel. So the two of them riding in the wind. So right here, Alan is sitting on this group that we rode up to because we're almost catching them. So Mark comes, I go with Mark. Mark comes around, I go ahead and get on his wheel. I still don't want to expend any energy. So Paulie Lunga gets on my wheel. And one of the guys are telling the other guys that people are passing on the left. I've never felt the need to do that. You're changing your line, you check. So we ride past this group. That guy says hi. I just wave. Guys in front of this group. At this point, I've decided that they're right there. You can see them up front. They're not together. So Mike is over on the right. Victor is further up. You see the truck is getting close to Victor. They're not that far apart, but they're not working together. So they're just expending all this energy. And they've broken up our nice little line that we had going. So I decided that when we hit a difficult patch, that's when I will close the gap. And I'm thinking out of the overpass or the climb before the overpass. But they're not that far ahead. They did not make that much progress. They just expended all that energy. And my thinking, just like the other rides I did, is I'm going to maintain the group pace when I do. But I will not give them an easy wheel. I will go by fast. All I'm doing here is just waiting. Mark has caught up to Mike Weingrass wheel. So Victor is sitting up front alone in the wind. Because even though you got a tailwind, we got wind from the east. It is swirling around this corner. You can hear it. There's nothing wrong with what Victor's doing. All I'm saying is that if you're going to do that, you better have plenty left. He's right up the road there. So I decided that when we do get to him, we are not going to slow our pace. We're not going to make it easy on him. Mo told me this thing about somebody hitting a wall, but he didn't say just a wall, he said a Chinese wall. I'm going to have to ask him what he meant by that. That means it was spectacular, really. That's what you have to avoid. You need to pace yourself. I'm on the bottom of zone 2 right here. And Victor's sitting up there expending all that energy. Right up the road, you can see him between the two riders there. situation, this is when you drink and just relax. That's all I'm doing. I'm just relaxing. I don't need to drink or anything. I'm just relaxing. My eyes are up the road. He's right there over that hump. And I see the overpass. And I'm thinking that if these guys cannot close up the game, I will close up the game myself. So he's already at the bottom of the overpass. We're coming to it. That's a rider just out riding, we're passing there. It's probably maybe 100 meters ahead. 100 to 150 meters. All it takes is a sprint to close it. So I start to look to see if somebody has the impetus to raise the pace, because it's hard on this bridge. We're doing 20 miles an hour on this 3% climb. I just go, because Mark's not firing too hard. I go, Paulie Lunga comes along, and I put down the power. We're doing about 23 miles an hour, thereabouts, 22, 23. And this overpass is not easy. When I get up to Victor, I just look for traffic and pop. I already know nothing's coming. I'm gone. He was done. He was dead. He wasn't doing anything at that point. So I just kept it going. After going over the top, because at first when you go hard like that, it takes a few seconds for your body to kind of settle on that new effort. And all I do is I just relax and get in gear, because now I'm going downhill, the road's flattening up, so I continue to shift up. You see the speeds. So we climbed that bridge at 22, 23 miles an hour. That's about a 3% climb. And I just settled into a rhythm. And I know that this shoulder ends, so I'm listening for cars. I don't remember if I turned around or not, but I'm listening. And the wind's mostly from behind, so it's quiet, it's not that noisy. So I take the piece of the lane that I need, and I keep the effort going. There's a turn coming up back up front. When we get to that turn, you can see Mike is behind, Victor's behind Mike, Mark is behind Paul. The pace is hard. I'm not going full gas, but I'm going hard. I'm not anywhere near full gas. In fact, the effort's dropping because there's a turn coming up. My heart rate's dropping. I wouldn't say the effort is dropping, because my legs are doing something different. When you ride as much as we do, it takes a lot of work to drive your heart rate up. That doesn't mean you're not going. So I take the lane. There's a car back, but he's waiting. And right before the turn, a car comes up that little incline. There's a hill over there. Show up, and I just let him know we're turning. He's not close, but I point to him to let them know they already had seen it. I look back, make sure everybody's going. I think somewhere around here, Mike asked, "Is this the beginning of the ride?" or something like that. So Mark says the car back.
We haven't even started yet, Mike.
I don't know.
I got 17 and a half miles in.
So Mike is saying he's got 17 miles. He's asking if this is the end of the ride, because we're going hard. But the thing is, that's funny is, he started it. He and Victor started it. Now he's asking, is this the end of the ride? You know, he's being sarcastic, but why are you asking that question? You started it. We're going to keep going. Paul told me to keep going. Paul said, keep going. If somebody asks, is everybody here? They're going to ask later, is everybody here? Well, Victor says, who's everybody? We're here. Something like that. So I just keep going. I just keep riding. There's a car back there. Mark's asking if the car was still back there. I told him yeah. That's why I'm on the right side, so that whoever it is, when the opportunity comes, it can go around us. The driver was very patient. They can see that we were working. In a little while, there's a car coming from the opposite way. I keep my legs turning. I don't like to coast too long. That's okay for a little bit, you know. And you can see my heart rate drop to zone 1. It doesn't take long. When you're fit, you have a lot of reserves. There's a car coming. Mark comes up here, and they like to go on this little incline. At the top of that corner, there's a stop sign. Usually they would stop there to regroup. I don't like to stop. So he goes, Alan goes with him. This was Paulie Lunga behind Alan. I looked to see who else would come. Nobody came, so I got behind Paulie Lunga. I'm just sitting on Paul's wheel right here. I'm waiting for that corner because I don't want to stop. You will hear me tell him, it's clear, go. Because I want to keep the group speed consistent like a locomotive so that people who go off the front, you better make sure you have something left because the group will not slow down. So Victor comes around here. He ain't going anywhere. It's just for, I'm not sure why he made that effort because when we turn the corner, nobody wants to pull. Mark ends up pulling. I said, clear, go.
Define everybody.
Yeah, Mark said everybody here. Victor said define everybody.
Then the answer is no. The rest of us, yes.
I don't really care who's not here. They can meet us at Taco Corner. They know the way.
Man, I can't remember having a Southwood like that on my screen.
Sometimes people would ask if everybody's here as a ruse to take a break. Because if you really cared about everybody, you wouldn't be forcing the pace. You would have kept the group together. You broke the group up on the highway. We're going to keep going. Whoever's not here would meet us at the store. And while we're doing this, Mo and them are back there. We didn't start out together, but we learned later. You will see Mo and them pass us on 2854. But they're riding up because their group starts about 7:32. So it was really cool to see them today. Dave was there also. We got some clips riding with them on the way back. We rode with them through the forest. It was kind of nice. There's a big group today, once after the store. So Paulie Lunga had done a heavy workout earlier in the week. I found out later, the big gear, low cadence intervals, and his left knee started acting up after probably 2.5 to 3 hours when we left the forest. He was like, okay, I gotta back off, I gotta back down. My knee is complaining. And so we discussed it and we made some recommendations for him to tweak his program so that his knee doesn't hurt. My knee was bothering me too later because my cleat moved on me. So I sorted that out, tightened it up, it's fine. So here's the thing now, we're riding, I'm in the draft, Victor is sitting on the left catching the wind. He likes to do that, he does that on the climbs as well. I don't pay much attention to that. Right here, all I'm doing is I know there are 2 climbs coming on Raven Chapel. And I'm just sitting on Mark's wheel. You can see I'm pretty close. I'm about a foot. Mark did a good pull here. This road, you can see where that car is. There's a little dip. Then it goes up right at the stop sign. You feel it more than anybody. You can see it if you look at the film. So Mark is slowing us down because of the 4-way stop sign. He's gonna check. The road on the left dead end, so usually there's not much going on. There's nothing coming. He waves, and this is something I was talking about. Just pull off. You don't need to wave. Nobody else wants to come to the front. I just roll through. because from the time I got on that overpass, my plan was to keep the pace high. If Mark had not accelerated on that climb before the stop sign back there, I would have just been pulling. So I resumed what I was planning to do. Because a lot of these guys, when I started riding with them, what I noticed is they would make moves and they would depend on those little stops to recover. Well, we're gonna change that. You make a move, you better be able to handle it, because we're not gonna be stopping until we get to the official stops. No more stopping at intersections in the middle of nowhere for no reason. So the road kicks up here, and Victor comes on my left. Every time he does that, I force the pace even harder. I just started to kick up a little bit, just a little harder and a little harder. It's 3% here. We're doing, what, 17, 18 miles an hour? Whatever it is, it's not easy. I don't see speed. I'm just riding. I'm in a gear and I'm just riding. So at the top of the climb, I shift up a car to keep the pressure on. The road starts to go down, I continue to shift through the gears. That keeps the pressure on. You can see as soon as it starts to go down, my heart rate drops. Doesn't take much. The same thing if you had a power meter. You back off the watts, it just falls. So you got to keep the pressure on. So he comes back again, and I force the pace even more. In fact, I end up downshifting. Look at my cadence change. From the 80s, it's gonna kick up. I'm not sure if it's here, right here, or not. I've already passed it. So I went up in the 90s. But I downshifted and accelerated. I don't let up here because we're going downhill. I shift up. The turn is coming. Right at the turn, I shift 3 cogs at once. I just threw the derailleur. So I go have a low gear as I turn to accelerate out of there. I accelerate, I go to the right because the wind's coming from the right. So somebody can come through to see who wants to come through. So I pull over to the right, Paulie Lunga comes through, and he pulls over. And in a little bit, I didn't realize he had turned the camera around because all I heard was Mike on my side. I didn't know Paul was filming us. Mike asked me there, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah." And he said it as if to say, did somebody piss you off or somebody annoy you? You could tell that in his voice. And I just say, "I'm fine." As soon as I said, I just went ahead and pulled through because Alan and I believe Victor were riding off the front again. And nobody else wanted to go through. So I just go ahead and hammer up to them. I just pull them back in. That's why you have to pace yourself, because you don't know what's going to be coming. That's a road racer's mantra. You always got to save a little something, because you never know. I ride up to them. I sit on their wheel. I'm reaching for a drink. Put it back. Bottle back. The road's a little bumpy here, so I'm just trying to track a nice smooth line to avoid beating up my wheels. I'm aware that there's a turn coming and Alan is not very familiar with this area. So in a little while, I will signal to the people behind us that we're going to be turning, and then I will let Alan know verbally that we're turning. Victor thinks Alan knows the turn, but I know Alan is not actually familiar with the area. that so you don't expend too much energy. You can see we gap Paulie longer a little bit. He's gonna have to ride up to us. That takes energy. Victor kept hanging on the left side of the lane. I got behind him here just to seek shelter from the wind. But I don't know why he wasn't following Alan. Because he has no aero bars on that bike. He's using the drops. I stand up just to keep my gear rolling. So this is the kind of riding that generates a lot of lactate in the legs. So if you have not conditioned yourself to handle these efforts, it's hard to recover from it. Sitting to the left of Victor, the wind's coming from our left, the south. I go ahead and ride up to Alan because he's slowing down and Alan's pulling away. So when you're riding like this and nobody wants to come to the front, that's because it's hard. So we're keeping the pace hard. In a little while, Alan will pull off because he'd been pulling for a while since we turned on South Pine Lake off of Raven Chapel. And some of you are wondering, well, you know, I was pulling, now I'm back here ready to pull again. Well, I'm staying up here on purpose to just keep the group speed high so these guys can cut out their shenanigans. You know, they don't want to come to the front. If I don't pull, they will slow down. The pace will slow down. So we're just keeping it high this way. So you can do whatever you want. The point I'm making is that you better be able to hang on with the group once you're done with your little escapade. So in a few kilometers, you'll see Mike once again come to the front and ask, what's going on up there? He didn't like this. And usually on this road here, there's a sprint. Nobody wanted to sprint today. We rode it pretty hard. We did. That's why I love Team R. They just ride their legs off. So Alan pulls off. I go ahead and take over. And you will see me shift several times. Watch my right hand. One more time. I guess I'm done. But I shifted at least 3 times because this road's going up and it's windy. You see the speed's 22? Means nothing to me. It's the effort that matters. That's the hill that everybody sprints on right here. The highway's up there where you see the curve. Nobody sprinted today because I backed up. That's why you see Paulie Longer is right alongside me. That's why the camera's here, and he turns it around. I want to see who's going to do something because I was going to go with whoever was going to sprint. But nobody wanted to sprint, so I just resumed. coming up, usually they would try to stand on the corner to regroup. That defies my logic. I'm like, we can regroup at Taco Corner. Let's ride. I go ahead and look left. I'm looking left for cars. Nothing's coming. I tell them it's clear. Paul says clear as well. Because even though we're using the shoulder, I don't like to swing onto the highway if there's a car coming. It's just not cool. You startle the drivers. And you will be stopped if there's an officer there because, you know, you're supposed to. This is where Mike comes to ask what's going on up front. I just heard it. I didn't look behind. I didn't know Paul had turned the camera around. I just heard that he's asking what's going on up front. We're just riding. So I go ahead and push the pace up to the sweet spot for me. A little harder than endurance, but at the bottom of zone 4. Because this road is a false flat. Everybody's working. You have to ride here because even though it says 0, it's not 0. It might be 0.7, 0.8, whatever. Then the wind swirling around. And the way we've ridden this first hour, we didn't play. Fabian come by on their way to Taco Corner. I get a drink right at the bottom of zone 4 here. There's no point to go any harder. This is the group pace. We're just holding whatever works. If somebody feels it's easy, they can come around. And you'll see after more of them show up, Victor comes around. Begin to play again. Right here. That's Mo and that's Fabian. I don't lift the pace because I don't want to break up the group. So I just keep riding. Keep the effort the same. Then Victor comes by and I just lift my pace to get on his wheel. I did not shift. All I did was pedal faster. The road's going up. Nice. Yeah, it's at 1, 2, between 1 and 2%. This road is very deceiving. 28, the FM 2854, frequented by cyclists in the area. I figure, okay, he's holding a good pace. We'll just sit on him. We'll go. You can see more of them are up the road there. But then a little bit, Victor raises the pace another notch. Somewhere around here. Right there. I start to put more power into the pedals. The road's kind of going up a little bit, then it's gonna go down. This is where we start to pull away. We're doing about 30 miles an hour, thereabouts. more than 30, we're gone. I'm just spinning. I'm probably in my 14 or something like that. Coasting right there. We raised the pace from, my heart rate went from 160 to 170 like that. That's a hard effort. Those explosive efforts. Alan comes around. The rest of them are gonna come around Paul. I don't know who that guy was. I didn't know he was back there. He may have been riding with more and then probably got off. He fell off the pace. He was not in our group. The guy in the red. But up front, our efforts dropping. We're going downhill. It's not as hard as it was when we opened the gap. That's Mike that went around Paul. The red light, the traffic light is down that hill, and Mo and Fabian, we can see them. We pretty much got there about the same time. We flew down this hill. That's Highway 105, area called Conroe. Well, I guess this is Montgomery, not Conroe. This 105 goes to Conroe. Conroe is east of here. This is the Montgomery end of 105. So you look ahead, you will see us as we stop. Mo and them are right there, Mo on the right with his light flashing. He and Fabian. And Paul comes and he hands me the camera. So now go ahead and put it up.
That's good. We got a large group today. Good weather. We're waiting on Paul H.
At this point in the ride, we've left Mount Moriah Road. We're exiting off of Mount Moriah on the 1486. Paul H had stopped at a store back there. The group didn't stop. So Greg shot and I hanging back to pull him in when he catches up. He's coming. The group's up the road. They're in two pieces. Mo's group's further ahead. And this is Team RR up there. And they're aware that Paul H is back there, so they're not going full gas or anything. I had gotten the camera from Paul at the 105 stop.
The guys away from Paul H.
And so we had it put up throughout the forest, and we're headed southwest. It says southeast, but really I think it's more western. We're on 1486 headed towards Jackson Road. And Paulie Lunga started having problems with his knee in the forest. At that point, all the work he'd done during the week and just the riding he'd done, his knee had enough. So he told us, that's Paulie's back there coming. So he told us, hey, I'm gonna do my own thing, and so he's still sitting up there. He's in the back of the group here, but his knee is aching. So we end up just sitting back here. That's why we didn't go with Mo's group, but more than them end up waiting for us on Jackson Road. So we ride with them just for a little stretch.
Paul, as long as his knees are bothering him, so he's just gonna sit here. We've got pollen all over our faces in Jersey.
Yeah, we have pollen all on our faces and glasses and
Do
clothing.
they know he's coming? These guys. He's trying to get back, but they're...
I asked Alan if they knew that Paul H was coming, because they're not slowing down. So at this point, he gets on my wheel. Greg shot is there, so I go ahead and bridge up to these guys. That's why you see the speeds are 35, 36 kilometers an hour. We're going into the wind. It's very blustery. The wind's blowing from the south, and I think it's from the west now. It's all over the place. So Mark rides up. There's a gap between, but Paulie Lunga here is riding with one leg at this point, just his right leg. The left knee just has had enough, because he did a heavy workout during the week, and then with the riding we did, it just told him in the forest that it had had enough. And so he told us he was gonna take it easy. So when I rode past him, I told him just sit on my wheel. And I was just gonna back off the pace a little bit. But I still edged it a little bit. You can see I'm doing 35 kilometers an hour. A little bit of a gap there. So he ends up getting gapped because he's riding one-legged. And it's tough, in this condition. So I'll ride up to these guys. But he's got it sorted. He pretty much knew what happened, so he's gonna modify his weekly workout, the workout during the week, to make sure he's not encountering that problem. Those old injuries die hard. So Mo and them are up the road. He's gonna wait at the corner on Jackson Road, and I took these clips so we could just at least show a little bit of us riding with Mo. That's kind of how we end up wrapping things up then. This guy on the right, his name is Alfonso. He was part of Mo's group. He's riding with us here. Right here, Mike pulls really hard. You see Mark working. I'm not sure why they pull like that, but that's what they do. You don't need to pull at your max when you take your pull at the front. You need to try to pull in the group at the effort the other person was doing that just came off the front. So yeah, the picture's kind of dark because there's no sunlight. You can see the sky, the clouds look beautiful here. Look at that. Almost just heavenly. Beautiful. That's the stuff I enjoy when I'm out there, This is the stuff I look at. It's nice. I'm sitting on Mark's wheel. At this point, Paulie Longa is with the third group. He's off our pace because he's taking it easy. With knee bothers, and we ended up just after the end of the film here, the clips, we just backed off and dropped the speed to where his knee was not hurting, and we rode in. By the time we got back to the woodlands, he was feeling a little better. His leg was feeling a little better. Just did too much this week. He had a heavy week, heavy workload. That happens. And then Friday he was busy running around, so that's why I told him he was standing and on his feet. All of that adds up. So. But he's got it sorted. He's got it figured out. As long as you know what caused the issue, you can kind of adjust. So we got some adjustments for him to make. That's fun. That keeps training interesting. So Jackson Road is up there where you see those cars coming from up that hill, and I'll turn left. Basically, the part that we don't have on film was in a forest where Mo and them turned around to ride with us. I thought that was really cool because we ended up with just a very big group. It was just a lot of fun. But we ride the same roads. I think it's the company that makes the difference. Every ride is different based on who shows up and what they're doing. As I mentioned earlier, we will be doing the RDBC Gran Fondo on April 7th, and we'll be recording it. Should be a lot of fun. It's the ride that goes to Anderson and parts beyond. Did that last year. So Mark starts to go, and then I think in a little while we'll tell him that there's a car back there. Because there's a turn, the turn is up there. You see those cyclists turning? So I let him know not to turn because there's a car behind us. But the car sees those guys turning. I just told him car back, he moved over. And then I look back and I see that they're waiting on us. And I thank the driver.
My back. Well, letting us go. Come on, thanks. Come on, Mark.
So I just go ahead and take the road. That's Mo standing on the corner there. That's his tail light. That's the cycle light. You can just see that in the dark there.
Okay. Car's back.
I realized this camera had that much of a challenge with the lighting. The sun is behind the cloud. That's Fabian. I go around here. pedaling here because we're trying to regroup.
Alrighty, you're looking good. Thank you.
Mike says looking good. He's talking about the kid. So in a little bit I would ask Alan if Paul is there. We end up stopping and waiting for you. This is the hill that we attack the other way when we come on this road. So it's a nice downhill. We just kind of roll.
Paul, the long guy here. Paul, the long guy here. Paul, is he here? No, the other Paul.
Paul H is here, so I asked Alan if Paul Ilonga is here. That's Paul H right there.
Yeah, let him go. We'll wait for him. He's hurt. He's probably back to
That's Fabian. Fabian follows me on Strava. It's Mark. So I took these clips and I left them in here to just show you guys how we put together a nice echelon. I think I stopped here. That's Victor. We'll catch him in a little bit. I stopped here because Mo is back there waiting on Paul. There they go. That's Mo, Greg, and Paul Ilonga. So we start to go. Mo looks back for us because we're stopped. We go ahead and ride up. And I just wanted you guys to see how we set up the echelon because the wind is coming from the right for the most part. I took the music out of this piece. That's Greg's shot. And I go by and I tell him, come on, Greg.
Okay.
I'm standing here. That's why you see the camera moving a little bit. It's in my left hand next to the brake hoods. So Alan comes, he starts to pull us back. Mo's looking back. He's not really going yet. And we're riding up to him. So this is the pace that Mo ends up riding at 36, 37 kilometers an hour. That's about 22, 23 miles an hour, something like that. So right there he's waiting, and then I go around Alan and he sees that we're here. You see him pick up his pace. And then in a little while, I end up telling Paul that he needs to go on Mo's hip because he's right where he is right now. He's not getting a great draft because the wind's coming from the right. He needs to be in an echelon. In a little bit, this car is waiting for. There's a rider up there that's riding. I think it's Alfonso. He's waiting for it to be clear so he can pass. All the roads we're on today, there was cyclists just galore. So Mo waits. You see, he does not go by the car. He waits. That's the way you do it. And then once it's clear, that guy goes, and then we ride up. And we're moving. This is a slight downhill. It's at -0. That's a slight downhill. Just watch how smooth Mo is. That was Victor. So we went by Victor here. In a little while, I see Paul is struggling because his knees bother him, and we end up putting him in the echelon. But this is how you run an echelon when the wind's coming from the right. And because it's from the right and in our face, we're not all the way sideways. But we're using this road because it's quiet enough to do that. I'm on Paul's hip, and Paul is on Mo's hip, and Alan's behind me. And we're just moving along. When we passed Victor, he could not get in our pace line because he was muscling a big gear. He couldn't lift the speed. You can see we're doing 35, 36 kilometers an hour, thereabouts. And this is why we love running into Mo. He waited for Paul, brought Paul back, and now here we are being just pulled along beautifully. That's what it's all about. You know, cycling's a small community, and the ambassadors, people like Maurizio Topini, make it a whole lot of fun when you get out there. We feel blessed to have him in our area here. So I hope you all got a chance to get some K's in. I hope you enjoyed the clips today. We had fun this weekend. Keep those doctors fired. Stick to the plan.